Welcome to the 12-Minute Leadership Podcast, where in 12 minutes or less, I'll share small things that you can put into immediate practice that will make a big difference in your leadership effectiveness. I'm your host, Elise Morales, leadership professor, consultant, and coach. For the last 17 years, I have helped thousands of leaders level up their influence and achieve remarkable results. If you want to trade compliance for true commitment and create your dream team, you are in the right place. Get ready for a quick hit of practical wisdom to increase your team's engagement, inspire top performance, and retain your best talent. Ready to level up your influence and get better results? 12 minutes starts now. Hi everyone, Elise here. Welcome back to the podcast. I recently did a series on executive retreats, episodes 47 through 51, and the role they play in helping leadership teams build trust, strengthen alignment, and lead more effectively together. I discussed at a high level how these are different from strategic offsites. Over the last few weeks, I've had several organizations reach out asking for help facilitating strategic offsites for their leadership teams. Based on those conversations, I thought it could be helpful to do a standalone episode on strategic offsites. Whether you are considering an executive retreat or strategic offsite, today's episode will help you clarify what a strategic offsite is so you can make the best decision for your team. If you are trying to decide between the two, I suggest listening to my series on executive retreats if you haven't already. Some common questions that come up for strategic offsites are, is it strategic planning? Is it team development? Is it goal setting? Should it be an offsite meeting? The answer is a little bit of all of these and more. So today, I want to answer 3 questions. What is a strategic retreat? Why is this the ideal time of year to have one? And what should the outcomes be when it's done well? So first, what is a strategic offsite? At its core, a strategic offsite is an intentional opportunity for a leadership team to step away from day-to-day operations and focus on the future. That's important because most leadership teams spend the majority of their time working in the business, not on the business. Working in the business includes addressing issues, solving problems, responding to immediate needs, and managing execution. A strategic offsite creates space to work on the business, to step back and ask bigger questions. Questions like, where are we headed? What's changing in our industry? What opportunities should we pursue? What risks should we prepare for? What priorities matter most over the next year? Strategic offsites are less about reacting and more about intentionally shaping the future. I recently facilitated a series of strategic offsites for a shareholders group to create a 10-year growth philosophy and then create a strategy for executing it. We covered all of the things I mentioned and came out the other side with an inspiring and clear direction for the future of the company. Next, I want to talk about why leadership teams need this time. One of the biggest challenges leaders face is that urgency constantly competes with importance. The urgent always feels pressing. The important often gets postponed. Strategy typically falls into the important but not urgent category. Very few leaders wake up and think, I have too much time to think strategically. The opposite is usually true. Most leaders are moving so quickly that they rarely have dedicated time to think beyond the next quarter, the next project, or the next challenge. Strategic offsites create protected space for those conversations, and often that space is what allows clarity to emerge. Next, I want to talk about why the end or beginning of the year is ideal. These are my favorite times to facilitate strategic offsites. Why? Because leadership teams naturally find themselves at a transition point. They're looking backward and forward at the same time. They're evaluating what worked, what didn't, what did we learn, what should we stop doing, what should we do differently next year. The end of the year provides perspective. The beginning of the year provides momentum. Together, they create an ideal environment for strategic thinking. Without intentional reflection, organizations often repeat the same patterns. Strategic offsites create the opportunity to learn before moving forward. So I also want to share what a strategic offsite is not. I think this is important. A strategic offsite is not simply a longer staff meeting. It's not a day full of presentations. It's not a collection of departmental updates. It's not simply a brainstorming session. When organizations spend most of the day reporting information that could have been shared beforehand, they're often wasting valuable offsite time. The purpose of an offsite is conversation, discussion, decision-making, alignment. The real value comes from leaders thinking together. So what should the deliverables be? Let's talk about outcomes. A strategic offsite should produce more than inspiration. When a strategic offsite is successful, leadership teams typically walk away with several important deliverables. Number 1, strategic priorities. What matters most? Not 20 priorities. A handful of meaningful priorities that will guide decisions and resources. One of the biggest mistakes organizations make is trying to do everything. A strategic offsite helps leadership teams determine what matters most. Number 2, alignment. A good offsite creates shared understanding. Leaders leave with clarity around direction, goals, priorities, and responsibilities. Alignment may not sound exciting, but it is one of the most valuable outcomes a team can achieve. Number 3, key initiatives. What major projects or initiatives deserve focus over the next year? What investments need to be made? What changes need to occur? The offsite should help clarify where leadership attention should be directed. Number 4, decisions. Many organizations delay decisions because leaders are too busy to have the conversations necessary to make them. Strategic offsites create the space for those conversations. As a result, teams often leave having made decisions that had been lingering for months, sometimes years. And number 5, accountability. Who owns what moving forward? What are the next steps? What timelines exist? Without accountability, strategy becomes wishful thinking. A successful offsite connects vision with execution. A key point I want to make here is that vision precedes strategy. Does your organization have a clear and compelling vision? That is needed first before you focus on strategy. I want to share one final thought with you about why facilitation matters. One of the reasons organizations often bring in an external facilitator is because strategic conversations can be difficult to lead while simultaneously participating in them. When leaders are facilitating, taking notes, managing time, and trying to contribute, something usually suffers. A strong facilitator helps the team stay focused, ensures all voices are heard, asks challenging questions, and keeps the conversation moving towards meaningful outcomes. The goal isn't simply to have a productive day. The goal is to create clarity that guides the organization long after the offsite ends. So in closing, if your leadership team hasn't intentionally stepped back recently to think about the future, this may be the perfect time, because strategy doesn't happen accidentally. It requires reflection, conversation, and alignment. And perhaps most importantly, it requires time. A strategic offsite creates that time. When done well, it can provide the clarity and direction an organization needs for the year ahead. So, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Share it with another leader who needs it. I'll see you next time. Like what you heard on today's episode and want to go deeper? Subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an episode. You can also pick up my book, Lead Anyone, on Amazon. Then, go to my website to check out ways that we can support your leadership goals. From executive retreats to customized training and coaching, my team of experts will help you level up your leadership and accelerate your results. Go to www.eliseboggs.com for more info.